Yesterday, Bitcoin got rejected by one of the most important levels of resistance, but ultimately, what we're right now creating in this market is a falling wedge pattern. And I have traded this pattern so many times before already. And on today's update video, I will tell you exactly how historically these patterns exactly play out on Bitcoin. Of course, I'm gonna be talking about the major CME gap we still have trading above us. I want to be talking obviously about this very historical pattern and obviously I want to be talking about this very historical signal that is once again playing out right now. And of course, I will be discussing this and much more on today's update video, including the trades, a big update on them. So guys, don't forget to once again slap off that like button back above 1000 likes to be highly appreciated. And let me jump straight away in towards today's update video. So for the ones that missed my videos most recently, of course, I've been predicting first the pump, then the dump, and of course that is so far exactly what played out. And on this correction, I did open up some leverage long positions. Now Bitcoin is coming down ever so slightly, but to be honest, I am not all too worried. First of all, it's because of course ultimately, if we're looking back at all those previous liquidity graphs, none of them went straight away towards the upside. And more importantly, what my criteria is here for this correction right now is that, of course, as long as Bitcoin is holding this upward sloping support line, and more importantly, as long as Bitcoin is holding this very critical previous level of resistance as support, I do remain to be believing the Bitcoin trend remains to be strong. We are still sitting in this liquidity gap where, of course, the majority of the liquidity is clearly laying above us, and there's even more liquidity being built up here. But you can clearly see the most amount of liquidity is laying around $120,000, and ultimately, Bitcoin always follows this liquidity. But more importantly, guys, to understand, yesterday, we got a slight little rejection from this very previous important level of support that now is flipping into resistance. Obviously, in yesterday's video, I talked very highly about this level, about indeed how important it's going to be that we're going to be breaking above this level. Unfortunately, we have seen an ever so slight rejection, but ultimately, of course, we have another day and another opportunity to potentially break above this level. So, yeah. It is not over yet so far. And of course, if I'm also looking at the patterns that Bitcoin is currently creating, you can clearly see, of course, we're creating this downward sloping support line on Bitcoin with multiple touch points, and also a downward sloping resist line also right now with more than 2 touch points, with 3 touch points. So we can clearly see Bitcoin is creating a new pattern, and this pattern is called a falling wedge pattern. And if you haven't already seen these, I mean, Bitcoin creates many of these patterns all the time here, because this is a very typical reversal pattern, and you tend to create these always in these correction phases towards the downside. And I'm currently just looking back at history to show you some of these patterns, but you can see 90% of the times they break towards the upside. So yeah, Bitcoin created many of these patterns before, and this is one of my favorite patterns to be actually trading. And what historically happens always is that whenever we see a breakout of the level and a confirmed break above the previous high, you usually tends to go to the top side of the region, which is in this case 123 or 124,000 US dollars for Bitcoin. So very interesting level if you would ask me here. Of course, I do think this is once again going to be playing out here like it has done many times in history as well here. So this is going to be one of the patterns I will be closely looking at. Of course, an invalidation of this pattern is that whenever we're going to be breaking below the support line, this is going to indicate, yeah, we are most likely going to see a bigger drop and the market is weak here. But of course, if we can break above the downward sloping resistance line and, very important, confirm the break above the previous high, then this target is going to be the case for Bitcoin. So what will I be doing with my trades? I will hold my trades open. Of course, some people are maybe already panicking, but personally, I am not panicking whatsoever on this market right now, since the charts are still looking good, the patterns are still looking strong here, and yes, I am just betting very heavily on the support box, and if we're not breaking below the support box, I remain to be bullish. But of course, in the case that Bitcoin does break the support box and we're going to be breaking lower, we're also going to be breaking below this very important 100-day EMA ribbon level. Yeah, then potentially I want to be, of course, exiting the markets, because that could potentially be one of the topping signals for Bitcoin, because if we're looking at all the historical data, we do clearly can see that according to history, according to the 4-year cycle, the Bitcoin top should be very close right now here. But of course, if we're going to also compare 2024 for Bitcoin towards the 100-day moving average, we can see that of course we were trading in this consolidation phase. First we swept the highs, then we swept below the support box, but bounced exactly from off the 100-day EMA but bounced exactly from the 100-day moving average. And of course, ever since we did so, Bitcoin, of course, had a major rally towards the upside. And what is exactly happening right now here? Of course, if you're going to compare this structure towards each other, we first swept the high, now we're sweeping the low, and of course, we're bouncing from off that 100-day moving average. So once again, an exactly historical event is playing out again here, and literally history is repeating. So this is of course a very bullish thing to see right now in the market. And guys, if you are like me, taking these big trades, because this is literally a $10 million worth trade on Bitcoin I am currently taking, and you're looking for an exchange where you can trade the cheapest, guys, go to the first link in today's video description, because if you sign up an account using this link, you'll get a 25% fee rebate, which makes WeX the cheapest exchange out there to operate on. And on top of that, guys, you can get deposit bonuses up to $30,000. And if you already bind your phone number and email, you will get a coupon between $10 or $100 just randomly rewarded towards your account here. So make sure to check it out in the first link in today's video description. It is super valuable. And of course, today is also going to be an even more important day, because later today we're going to get the PCE and the core PCE in the United States of America. And of course, this is going to be very critical for whether the Federal Reserve is going to be actually cutting their rates here. Of course, in exactly 19 days from now on, we have got the FOMC meeting. The consensus is that we are going to see the rates being cut here. But of course, if this data is going to come in more unexpected, more hotter than expected, we are obviously not going to be seeing any rate cuts. So we want to see this data come in very low, and that is why this is most likely going to cause a lot of volatility today here. So make sure to be watching this data. It is going to be absolutely critical. Then looking at Ethereum, the ETF flows are starting to die off ever so slightly. There's less and less hype coming towards the market right now. And actually yesterday I discussed this 4-hour pattern, and of course we broke below this 4-hour support box on Ethereum, and right now actually the price target is all the way back down towards about $4,000. So hopefully we're not going to go there, but of course we are clearly breaking below support right now for Ethereum, which gives me of course clearly a worrying sign right now here. And of course, since we are right now confirming lower highs as well here, if we break especially below this high low in the market right here, I do think we are going to come back towards $4,080 for Ethereum. So that is going to be a target I will be looking for if we do confirm a break below the previous low in the market, because this previous low of course corresponds with these highs right here. So this is a major level of support. If we break below this level, I think $4,080 is going to be next for Ethereum, where major support obviously will be found here. So make sure to be watching those levels. Of course, ultimately, guys, the Bitcoin dominance, you are not ready for what is about to come here, because we are seeing this major rejection only just getting started. And if I am looking at the Bollinger Bands on the altcoin market cap, I mean, first of all, we're seeing volume spike quite heavily, and the Bollinger Bands has never been tighter than currently. So yeah, we are really getting ready for an explosive move, whether it's going to be towards the upside or downside. One thing is for sure, there is an explosive move about to come. And if we're looking at history, if we're looking at the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin, it does make a lot of sense. It is going to be going towards the upside. So the Bitcoin dominance is getting ready for a major correction. So super excited for what is about to be playing out over there. But anyways, this was it for me in today's update video, guys. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, slap up that like button, and guys, by the way, don't forget to join the private Telegram group here, which is in the second link in today's video description, which you can also join to stay up to date about all the trades, and of course, all the new trades we're taking. So guys, thanks so much for watching, and see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.